Hey guys, before we begin this video, I'd like to give a shout out to a channel called Christendo, an experienced creator who has kindly supported my channel since the beginning. He's even offered to help me with resources for recording and editing, which would be really useful because while I'm confident with my script writing, my editing needs a lot of improvement. I really love making these videos and I really want to make them better and better with each new upload, so I really appreciate Christendo's willingness to help and support a beginner channel like mine. If you guys don't already know about his content, you should definitely check it out. He makes really good videos. He has a goal of reaching 10k subscribers on his channel, so be sure to subscribe to his channel if you enjoy his videos. Thanks again, Christendo. Now, let's get straight to the video. At the time of writing this script, we're 47 days away from the Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. In that Direct, they'll introduce the latest installment in a series of Nintendo's gaming systems. It's fun to speculate on what's coming next with the company, but today we're going back 45 years to 1980, when the first installment in the series was launched. Welcome back to the Nintendo chat room, where today I'll be ranking every Nintendo console and games device from worst to best. That's right, you heard me, every single one. Now, I know that I did a similar ranking on my old channel, but that one was limited and completely biased because of the Stop Wars, so today I'll do a proper ranking. This time including the early Nintendo systems and excluding the Switch 2 because it hasn't even come out yet. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Although Nintendo systems are all good in one aspect or another, there's a few systems that are just not as good that sit at the bottom of my ranking. Some of them just haven't aged well at all, others had concepts that didn't particularly work as Nintendo wanted them to, and others just didn't appeal to any particular audience. I initially thought it would be hard to decide on what comes in last place, but there's one system that falls into all of these pitfalls, the only Nintendo system that I can call bad. I'm talking about the Virtual Boy, of course. Some guy really woke up and thought, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if we made a headset with a 32-bit red and black display? But that's not good enough. How about we set it on a stand so people damage their backs playing it, and how about we top it off with the worst controllers we've ever made? We'll definitely win the console race with this one. And when he showed the Nintendo execs his idea, they were like, you're a genius, say no more. One thing leads to another, and there you have it, fellas, the Virtual Boy. I mean, what were they thinking? Even most of the VR headsets available now aren't that good, let alone one released in 1995, 1 year before 3D games were even introduced into the market. The technology that actually was around in 1995 was a head strap, but no, Nintendo opted for an uncomfortable stand instead. I don't know why they decided to make the Virtual Boy in the first place, but the point is that it was a bad idea, and that's reflected through its extremely low sales figures and the fact that it's ranked lower than the ink display calculator that only plays a single game. And speaking of the ink display calculator that can only play one game, next up is the Game & Watch, first released in 1980. Nintendo's first venture into gaming, although it wasn't technically an electronic console, I'll still count it. It's a cool toy, don't get me wrong, but I obviously can't place it any higher than this because it's not really an electric gaming system. It's still a console, but it can only play one game, so I can't put it any higher. The same goes for the next console on our list, the Game Boy. Back then, this thing was the handheld to get, because, well, it was pretty much the only handheld you could get. Both the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color that followed it draw so much nostalgia for people that, no joke, I've heard boomers refer to the PS5 as Game Boy. The Game Boy is remembered as the birthplace of many franchises, most notably Pokemon, and of course, it was practically the home of Tetris. It marked the beginning of handheld gaming, and the only reason it's this low is because it obviously didn't age well, especially after the GBA came around and perfected the formula. Next up we have the console that truly started it all, the NES. Of course, it was the birthplace of a certain plumber as well as a certain swordsman. Back in 1985, this was the unbeatable GOAT of the gaming industry. I have to say, I'm not a fan of the design of the console or the controllers, but it probably looked futuristic back then. Again, the only reason why it ranks this low is because it didn't age well, especially with its direct successor doing everything it does but better. Hey guys, so after recording the video, I realized that it would be too long to make it in one go, so I'm just gonna split it into 2 parts if you don't mind. So part 2 will come out later this week, so don't worry, you won't have to wait long. Anyway, but one video that is gonna be coming before that is episode 2 of the Nintendo Spiceometer, because I can confirm that we officially have enough hot takes to go through with the next installment in the Nintendo Spiceometer. So I'm writing the script for that now, so I'll see you guys then.